Hi, everybody. It's the Wednesday edition of Proline TV. We are glad to have you with us. I'm Dave Cook, and Scott Spreitzer is here. We got a couple of really good college basketball matchups to look at as Villanova plays host to Marquette right here in Las Vegas at the MAC. The Rebels will be back in action after enjoying basically an entire week off, and they will face Utah. We'll try and size up those two games for you. I'm wearing a sweater this morning, even though it's not cold where I am. I'm inside, but Scott, I feel bad for the rest of the country, so I figured I'd better dress warm. Holy cow. I mean, it's not very pleasant around the nation right now, is it?
Now, I was going to whine about the fact that it's 30 degrees in Las Vegas right now, but I think I'll take this 30 degrees and sunny skies over what the rest of the nation is going through. And the folks got to watch out for cancellations, over the next couple of days again in college basketball. In fact, I saw where the Celtics, after last night's game, were stranded in Sacramento due to the weather around the country. So a lot of interesting travel situations going on for some of these pro and college basketball teams. But before I get to my analysis on Marquette and Villanova, I wanted to mention that we've got fantastic three-package going on again on Wednesday's busy slate. These three-packs have been outstanding for us. 11-1 with our last 12 three-packs. 26-10 is our record with the three plays that come inside of these three-packs. All sides, no totals, and we're doing it again tonight. A little bit of a change because it's a college basketball and NBA three-pack. One NBA side, two college basketball sides, as we look to go to 3-0 for the second straight time. We went 3-0 on Saturday's three-pack to get to 26-10. All you have to do to get them all for just $10 is call 1-866-896-1627. And again, just like this past weekend, my three-pack is going to also include this upcoming weekend's NFL, Pro Football, Super Bowl, including the propositions. They're all going to be available, all for just $10. If you purchase the three-pack online, you're only going to get the three basketball plays, and it's $50. At Smash Mouth Sports, only $10 for Wednesday's three plays in basketball. And again, my Super Bowl plays, you don't want to miss out, all just $10. 1-866-896-1627.
All right, let's get started in the Big East. Marquette heading to Villanova. And Marquette's doing a pretty solid job. I wasn't sure what kind of a team they'd be this year, but they're what they usually are at Marquette. They're not the most physical squad in the world. They can have problems with teams that are really good in the paint. On the other hand, they can shoot lights out at times. And they're up against a perimeter-oriented team, a guard-oriented team at least, in Villanova. And that was part of the problem for a little bit with the Cats because one of their guards was kind of inconsistent, but they looked like they're kind of rounding into form. It's a tough game with Villanova laying 6 points, but I think on their own court, this may be a little bit of a difficult obstacle for Marquette. Similar types of teams, expecting an up-tempo game, should actually be a lot of fun to watch, although I'll be down at the Thomas and Mack tonight, so I actually won't see the game on TV, but maybe they'll have it on TV down there. I can watch it before the Rebels start. I think Villanova is going to get out of here with a win in this game. I just have seen a couple of things lately from Jay Wright's team that I'll call them minor buy signals at least. Maybe not to the point where they're going to win 8 or 10 games in a row in that conference. That's pretty tough to do, but I kind of like what I'm seeing out of them right now. And I think on the road, Marquette's going to struggle in this game, Scott.
Yeah, Marquette's, you got to give them credit. They've done a pretty good job for what they had coming back. 14-8 straight up doesn't sound great, but they're playing in the Big East, and, they're 10-6 against the spread. But the problem is they've lost 3 of the last 5 games. Villanova beat the Golden Eagles 4 times in a row before losing in the Big East tournament, 80-76. And Marquette does struggle, as you mentioned. They're good at home, but they struggle a little bit away from home. They're 2-4 in true road games, and they did play a weak non-conference slate. 7 of its wins have come against non-board teams to build the record to where it is right now at 14-8. So half their wins have come against non-board opposition. Couple of nice guards, as you mentioned. They're doing a good job from the outside. You've got Odom averaging about 16.5 points per game. They've got the swingman Jimmy Butler, about 15.5 points per game. But they're facing a terrific, I think, Villanova squad. 17-4 overall, 11-1 straight up at home. And they're on a current 7-2 against the spread run, though they're coming off a tough stretch where they lost, 3 of the last 4 games. They suffered a 2-point loss against UConn before finally beating Syracuse at home, but then they lost at Providence and Georgetown. But they only shot 32% and 40% respectively in those 2 games. Here's the thing you mentioned, guard-oriented, perimeter-oriented team, the Villanova Wildcats. Corey Fisher's outstanding. Stokes can be good. Wayne's is strong. They've got a decent forward in Pena. I like the center, who he and Pena both average about 7.5 boards per game. Marquette's defense away from home really lets them down. They're giving up over 50% from the floor away from home, and I think it's going to catch up to them again against Villanova. This is where Villanova can tee off from the outside against a poor playing road defensive basketball team in Marquette, and I think it's going to allow them to get the win, get some revenge from last year's Big East tourney when they lost that game 80-76, and win this game by 10 to 12 points. So, Dave, I got to back Villanova. I think Marquette, maybe some of their youth and the rebuilding process is beginning to show up a little bit over the last 5 games in the Big East, and I think Nova's going to catch that poor playing road defense here and be able to get the win and cover. So I had to go ahead and back Villanova in this one.
Yeah, and for me, look, when I mentioned a minor buy signal, it's because teams like Villanova don't stay cold for long. I mean, they're just too good not to. Got a feeling they're going to explode a little bit tonight. And I'm not a big fan of laying points in the Big East because it's such a parity-driven conference at the top, but I think Nova gets them tonight. That is not, however, one of the games I'm using in this 3-team parlay in college. Actually, all 3 of these plays are underdogs, and I very rarely do this, but once in a while I'm going to throw a free offer out there, and tonight's the night. It's a free 3-team college parlay. All you need to do is make one phone call. The number is 1-866-841-1665. That's 1-866-841-1665. Really nothing else to explain. You make the phone call, you get all 3 of tonight's college selections that I'm using in this underdog parlay. Again, that's a 3-team parlay, and it's free. 1-866-841-1665. Hopefully a lot of fans will brave the cold weather here in Las Vegas tonight, and the MAC will be packed as Utah comes to town. The Rebels are big favorites in this game, upwards of 15, maybe 16, as high as that. On power ratings, I have no qualms with that whatsoever, Scott, because the Rebels are clearly a lot better team than Utah. Even with some offensive issues, this is still a really good UNLV basketball team. They're borderline top 25. They're a cinch to be in the NCAA tournament unless they, completely screw things up down the regular season stretch. And yet a team that they've had some matchup problems with, definitely Utah. Utah's been a real thorn in their side. And part of it is the interior size of the Utes. I don't think much of David Foster. He's really not a very good player. But he is extremely tall. He's 7'3". And when he's been on the floor, the Rebels have had a lot of problems with him. When they're on offense and Utah's on defense, Foster's harmless offensively. But you know what? I like the aggressive style that this team shows at times, and I think they're getting their confidence back. They played really well in the second half. I know it was at Wyoming, but it was still a good second half performance, and I think that's going to carry over here. Nevertheless, with their, to put it kindly, erratic outside shooting, to me it's really tough to lay a big number with UNLV. I know they had a game back on, I believe it was, I forget what day it was, a couple weeks ago. They just crushed TCU. That was the day where the shots were going in. And if that happens tonight, if they're having a good shooting night, they can run Utah out of the building. But they just don't have enough of those to suit me. And I would say that that's their shortcoming. I think most fans know that here in Las Vegas. So to me, you're laying 15 or more with the Rebels, you are really taking your chances. I'm going to have to lean to Utah plus the points, although it's not a play for me, and the Rebels could nail them, but I've got to take Utah in the game as far as an opinion goes.
You mentioned the TCU win. I mean, TCU to me is just dreadful. Yeah. As good as their football program is, their basketball program is just that bad. And it's almost an automatic to look to go against TCU every time they suit it up and lace them up and get on the court. I am not a big – I know UNLV's probably a cinch to get into the tournament unless a major collapse happens. It's not a good not a well-coached basketball team. They don't set picks. David, it's frustrating. I go down to the Thomas Mack. Won't be down there tonight. Too many games on. I want to be able to watch. I know you're doing some work when you're down there doing the radio show, but it's pathetic. I mean, they don't set picks. It's either not coming from the coaching, or it's the players not carrying out the coaching on the court. But it's been this way for most of the last 5 years. They do not know what a pick is. It's as simple as that. They come down court. They're going to fire up a three. They don't look to do much inside. They don't have a lot inside. I know they've got some injuries. Jasper's got the knee thing going on. Trevon Willis, bulky knee a little bit when he played against Wyoming. Bellfield's shot is off, maybe partly due to the wrist injury. But the bottom line is, man, set a freaking pick sometimes outside. It's like if they're not able to steal a basketball and get an odd number rush going the other way, they can get beat by anybody. And I really don't, if you look at their schedule, there's not a current win right now over a team that's currently in the top 25. I think it's an overrated basketball team. They're kind of a bully. They're going to beat up on the bad teams. They can lose to anybody also. That's the problem. They can take a shot to the chin. I also worry when you're laying this kind of points, as you just mentioned, it's tough to lay points with UNLV, and they got Jimmer on their minds because that's up next. BYU on the road, a game that can really help them out with their placement in March Madness if they can steal a win against the BYU Cougars. And again, Foster inside. UNLV's number one thing since Lon Kruger has been the coach of in Las Vegas, they cannot handle teams with a big man. And it could come to play against them again tonight. I love Lon Kruger. I think he's just a heck of a guy. He's great for the community. He's one of those guys, as long as he's here, they're going to be a 20-win per season team that's going to probably be either in the tournament or in the NIT. They're always going to be right around the NC2A tournament, a perennial player. But the bottom line is, Dave, I just don't think that this is much of a basketball team. Now, they might get hot from area code 3 in the first round or second round and beat somebody to get to the Sweet 16, but they're just not a good team. They're not well coached. They don't set picks. It's one of the most frustrating things to watch if you like fundamental basketball. And I don't know if it's coming from the coaching or the players aren't carrying that on the court, but it's one or the other, and they haven't fixed it yet. They're just hoping to beat up on bad teams. Once in a while they get lucky against a good team, but I can't lay the points.
Well, they've had 8 days to work on this one, so hopefully they'll get a good effort out of the Rebels from a fan standpoint tonight. But my guess is that I think we're both on the right side as far as the spread on this game is concerned. So actually, it's a little bit of a consensus today. Scott and myself both like the Villanova side, and we both like Utah plus the points. Scott, recap that offer once again, because again, for $10, you're going to get some real good plays.
Yeah, we're looking to go to 12-1 with the last 13 three-packs. This one's one NBA play and 2 college basketball plays. All 3 plays are sides. $10 available right now at 1-866-896-1627. If we can garner another sweep, we'll be 29-10 with 39 plays. And again, $50 online, $10 at Smash Mouth Sports, and included in the package will be my Super Bowl plays, again at no additional cost. 1-866-896-1627. Dave, you got a 3-pack of your own going tonight, and they're free.
Yeah, I don't do too many frees. I think this is the first one I've done probably in about a month. But every once in a while I'll get in one of my generous moods. And tonight's the night. It's a 3-team college parlay. They're all dogs. I think all 3 not only have a chance to cover, a good chance to cover, but actually a real shot at winning their games outright. If you want to get all 3 games, you just make one phone call, 1-866-841-1665. That's 1-866-841-1665. We'll come back with another Proline tomorrow, and heading toward the Super Bowl, we're going to have a special lengthy edition of Proline where we'll get into some of the more interesting props that are out there with Big Al, Jim Feist, Scott, and myself. So keep on looking for that on our daily editions of Proline. For Scott, I'm Dave. Have a great day. Enjoy the action. Stay warm. Make some money.